Hey, welcome to Guitar Knobs, the guitars, gear, noise, and nonsense podcast, hosted today by these knobs.
Tony Dudzik, Pick Guardian.
Jared Brandon, former owner of Brandon Wound Pickups.
Is that... What? That was like 2 years ago.
I know. I just want to throw you for a loop.
Oh, all right. Well, loop thrown. Hey, everybody, it's me, Todd Novak. Welcome to the Guitar Knobs podcast. We're thrilled to death that you're listening to our show.
Right.
Yes. We are going to have a super duper fun time because we have 4-time Emmy nominee.
Oh,
Never received, but coincidentally, also a 4-time podcast interview on this show.
How many do you have to be to get the velvet jacket?
I'm going to get a gold mic.
Is it 5 times?
Two more.
I think it's 5, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
One more, Wolly.
5-time Emmy loser, who are you?
Well, I made some notes earlier in the day, and here it says that I am Wolly from Champion Leccy.
Perfect.
I don't know whether we can believe that, but it sounds about right.
I like it. Well, if you've heard any of the other past episodes with Wolly, you know we're going to have a really fun time.
A dabadoo time.
That's
Yes,
true.
yes. And Rob apologizes. He says, I'm buried under amps. So,
Should we call the fire department?
Dang it.
no.
Yeah, it sounds painful.
No, I don't feel bad for him, like one bit.
Send help.
Yeah, I've seen what he's got there, and he's the one who takes it on. So, you know.
There you go.
Wolly has a brand new pedal out, which is super duper exciting. He's going to tell us all about it. And we're just going to have some fun talking about guitar stuff, learning from each other, and shucking and grinning and all that stuff. Okay? Let's see here. I do have a quick announcement. So we talked about the Les Paul 70 Years book recently on the show.
No, yeah.
Trying to grab the book, Tony. You don't yell at me. And I have 2 announcements about this. Number 1, 3 announcements. No, 2 announcements.
2 announcements.
The winners of this book are executive producer Gregory Randall
Gregory Randall.
and
Nice, Greg.
Grandpa
Grandpooba.
Adam Johnson.
Adam Johnson.
Yes.
Woo!
And here's a bonus, not
Yes.
to them, but to us. Sorry. I contacted Julien Bitton,
Ooh, la la.
the writer of said book.
Yes.
And he said, I'd love to come on your show.
Oh,
So we're going to talk to the fella who wrote this stuff.
very
Raider
nice.
gang.
Super duper cool.
Oh, that is sweet.
Yeah, so I'm trying to set that up right now. And we'll hear from the person who penned said book. It's a great book.
Yes, it is.
Really great book.
It's very well done.
Also, speaking of great books and looking up at the patron saint of British guitar, Johnny Marr, you got to go get that book if you are remotely interested in awesome guitars and awesome guitar stories.
And great
You
photography.
don't have to be, super duper into the Smiths or anything, but it is a great book. I read it cover to cover.
Yeah. It's very well done.
Yes. Let's. Do you have any announcements, Tony?
No,
Okay,
I do not.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I have been hard at work booking up the next, month after month after month. We are approaching. I think it's our 8th. It's going to be 8 years, or is it already 8 years? 2016 to 2024.
It would be 8 years.
Gosh. Wow.
8
sakes.
years.
That's bananas. I can't even wrap my head around them.
I can.
Let's find out what's going on in our music world this week. We're going to check in with the Polish prince of precociousness,
That is
Tanya
true.
Bolonsky, and then we're going to hear from
do
our
it.
pal Wolly.
All right. Well, that sounds good, Todd. Thank you for that lovely introduction.
Oh, wait.
What?
Hey, Wolly,
What?
where can people go see the stuff that you make whilst and at the same time they're listening to this?
They could go to championleccy.com, which is champion spelled exactly as you would expect, then Leccy for Leccy, or Champion Leccy on Instagram and all the other bits.
Okay. And if we hear Wolly's signal cutting out, it's the Philadelphia zombies gnawing on the copper. Anyways, go ahead, Tony.
Well, okay, Todd. Well, this week, a couple of things. I just finished up, and I just actually shipped today a couple of guards for our buddy Henry Cash.
Yeah.
And this has been kind of a long-standing project. We actually met up out while we were at NAMM and at the SoCal Guitar Show, and he basically took a double cut duo jet style Gretsch, got rid of the pickup, the neck pickup, because he wanted a one pickup guitar, and covered the top in this crazy. I don't know. It's like some glittery pink stuff. What would you call that, Todd? Like a fuchsia. I mean, it was a very bright pink.
Yeah, it was hot pink, hot pants pink.
So he said, well, I really want to make a guard.
It was hot pants pink.
He wanted a guard. And what we kind of based it loosely on was in the late 50s, Gretsch had a model 6119, not to be confused with the Tennessean 6119. This was it was a single pickup, bridge pickup only, Chet Atkins guitar. So it was bridge pickup, had a pick guard, a black pick guard with the signpost graphics and the Gretsch logo. Now, we couldn't just take that and dump it onto a jet body because the jet body is a little bit smaller. So we shrunk everything down, mishmashed it up, and I'm really happy with how these came out. I sent some photos over to Henry earlier today. He's just super thrilled. So I can't wait to see it.
They look awesome.
I can't wait to see it on the guitar because we were doing this like remotely. He had a pattern. We had to make some changes. But anyhow, I think it's going to look really cool. So it has Henry Cash in the signpost graphic for those who are familiar with the signpost guards instead of Chet Atkins. So I'm excited about that. Happy. I'm glad he's happy. I can't wait to see the finished thing. Secondly, last night I was watching a Bee Gees documentary, and I mean, I like early Bee Gees stuff. The pre-70s. And
they were kind of rock and roll back then.
Well, they were total rock and roll.
You don't know what it's like.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
To love somebody.
Okay.
The way I love you.
And I'm not a big fan of the whole disco thing, but I have grown to appreciate the craftsmanship that went in and the writing that went into all of those songs, through the Saturday Night Fever and beyond, all that stuff. But primarily, I like the early stuff, the late 60s. And the one thing I noticed is that Barry Gibb played open chords. In other words, he had his guitar tuned to an open D for most of the songs that he was playing. And I said, well, that changes a lot of things, because I knew some of the early stuff and I would play cowboy chords and such. But as I was watching this documentary and some of the live stuff, I mean, it was obvious, like some of these songs would start in D and he would just, have his hand on the neck, not touching any strings. I said, that's how he's doing that. And so I decided that I'm going to retool my brain a little bit to try to do some open D stuff and kind of relearn some of these songs based on the open D tuning, which really does change a lot of things, because especially, I mean, it's easy to do bar chords and things like that, but when you get into some of the minors and the sharps and flats and things like that, you really have to rethink the fingering, and it's a lot different. So that's going to be my my task for the next week or two, is just kind of relearn a couple of those songs using the open D tuning.
Dig it. That's pretty neato, man.
Yeah. And it does sound completely, it sounds the way it sounds because of that open tuning. You can play cowboy chords and things, but it doesn't quite sound the same.
You telling me?
I just told you, Todd.
Let's see, Jared. I mean, Wolly.
So before I start, Tony, did you say that just one pickup in that guitar?
Yes.
And they took the neck one out?
Yeah.
Because everyone's like, yes. And I was thinking, like, isn't that the one that you'd want to keep?
I don't.
Is that controversial? That I would always want to, if I could only have one pickup, I'd always just want the neck.
Really? Now, see, that's counterintuitive to most rock players. I think most rock players would rather have the bridge pickup, not the neck pickup.
Well, if you go back to the 40s, and if you're a jazz player, some guitars only had neck pickups.
Well, that's
like
true.
the Johnny Smith.
That's true. So yeah, I guess it
depends what you play.
It's the tone that you're going for. Yeah, if you're a jazz guy, definitely you'd want the neck pickup. But I would say that most of the single pickup guitars that came out from the late 50s through modern times just are bridge pickups only.
Yeah.
So
just ask Billy Gibbons, he'll tell you why.
But
So
anyhow,
I
When in
always use
doubt,
both
always
pickups.
just ask Billy Gibbons, I guess.
so you're a neck pickup man, I take it, right?
Well, no, I always use both pickups because I've paid for two, so I'm going to use them both.
That guy right there.
Yeah, baby.
No, I was messing around with like a couple of guitars recently and like trying like just one pickup, and I always preferred just the neck to just the bridge, which is just it's not something I normally thought about, but I was just when you said that I was like, oh, maybe that's.
I think it has a lot to do with the style of music that you're playing. I think, sometimes to me, a neck pickup can get a little woolly. You know what I mean? It gets unless it's a single coil. A single coil pickup can sound really good.
Yeah.
But like if you just had a humbucker, sometimes it's almost too dark, I guess.
Yeah.
But I mean, depending on the style of music and the tone you're going for, absolutely. I mean, a neck pickups can sound really good.
Yeah. Or
Yeah,
crap.
that makes sense. Yeah, I love it was on a couple of different setups, but the main stuff that I do with my band is kind of fast, surfy stuff. So single coils and loud Fendery amps, which are quite bright.
Yeah, if you have a bright amplifier, absolutely. Yeah, you can get away with a lot of stuff that way. But yeah, I mean, the strings are probably moving, in their orbits at their widest points above the neck pickup. So yeah, you're definitely going to get more volume out of them.
I'm
That's a
very
bit
excited
plunk.
about this right now.
Anyway, so yeah, I have probably the best gear announcement decision ever. After I launched this pedal, I decided to buy my childhood dream guitar. Well, teenage, whatever, like
What'd you
young
get?
Wolly.
What'd you get?
So I bought a Silver Burst Gibson Flying V.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
It's like my earliest guitar memory of like when I was first getting into, like thrash was basically the first music that I first properly fell in love with, like early Metallica and Megadeth. And it was a guitar store called JC's Guitar Workshop in Newcastle. And I remember standing in front of this guitar for at least 30 minutes just with my mouth wide open. And I was like, I just want that guitar. And it's been 30 years now. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to get it. I'm going to get one. And there's a decent one popped up. So I just pulled the trigger on it.
That's awesome, dude.
So hey, Wolly, I'd like to talk to you about pickups in about 8 months, because they're not the pickups I'd like to talk to you about that are gonna come out around the bend. I think would look so good, and they'll be a kind of a new thing. So
all right, yeah. Yeah, I know that it's got Burst Booker 2 and Burst Booker 3 in there.
okay, cool.
So yeah,
I mean, if you're happy with those, that's great. But there's another concept that I'll just talk to you about. I'll make a note, and I'll talk to you in about 6, 7, 8 months.
yeah, that'd be
Show you.
great.
Yeah.
I haven't really made any decisions about it, but it's definitely like I got a Mesa Mark V last year
Whoa.
for those high gain tones that I've been wanting. So it's like my dream amp and dream guitar. I finally got them, and I don't want to curse it. I don't want the V to like explode in transit or anything, but it's going to be here like next week.
And your band's doing well, yeah?
Yeah, really well. We've got a really big gig with a Japanese touring band called Otoboke Beaver at Union Transfer in Philly, which is a pretty good-sized venue.
Wow.
March 23rd, if anyone wants to go to that. The band's called Party Nerves. Oh, yeah, and we just recorded an EP a couple of months ago, and I'm in the middle of mixing it, so that should be out in weeks. I don't know when I've done it.
That's great. I'm very happy for you, and it's a great name too. Party Nerves. It fits you like actually really well, which is great. Jared, about yourself.
Oh man, I struck gold, big time gold, at work. So at Gibson, right? The one of the main directors of all facilities emailed me. He's like, "Hey, Jared, there's this really old winder at Custom Shop, and I think we're gonna, scrap it, or I think it's been out of commission for decades." And I immediately knew what he was talking about because somebody mentioned about it 2 years ago when I first started working there. I saw this. It's a small pickup winder, and it's green, just like all the other old pickup winders. And it was painted green because all the other machines were green in Kalamazoo. So I know this thing dates back in the Kalamazoo days, which is really exciting. I'd never seen it in pictures though, but I know this is a very early model winder. And so I was like, yes, I'll come and get it right now. So I went down there. I'm like,
oh, wow, that's so cool.
This winder is like, it's got like, there's a peak of dust and wood dust and dust all over this thing because it's in the custom shop.
Is there any dust on it?
And it was 30 pounds lighter after we cleaned it off. I tipped it over, and all this dirt, like wood dust, just left a huge mess on the floor.
Oh, damn! You should have saved. Did you save it in bags and you could sell it on eBay?
Yeah,
it's the custom shop magic dust,
like Beatles hair.
Exactly.
No comment.
Oh,
yeah, no comment on that. So that's a good idea. So I brought it home here, and I'm just going to kind of tinker on it and work on it and see what it's going to get this thing back into commission and probably put it in the pickup shop.
Oh, that's cool.
So it's super exciting to save this thing and keep this thing going.
I'm kind of surprised they don't have that in like the garage and the rock, in the museum-y kind of bit. You know what I mean?
Well, have you been to the garage yet? You've
No.
been to the garage.
I haven't been to the garage.
The only thing that I think Gibson shows off that's museum-y are just really guitars, not really the equipment.
Yeah.
A lot of equipment, there is a wide variety of tooling that Gibson still use that they use for years.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of stuff that Gibson still has that's in a warehouse that I've seen, like the two giant green duplicators for tops and stuff like that. They still have those. They still work, but I think they've gone to a much safer, more efficient way to do that. But yeah, this, I don't know what to say. I mean, I'm just really, really, really super excited about this little thing. So that kind of really made my week.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
My month.
Is it the same make and model as the other ones that are there now, or
No,
it was just some
much smaller.
Oh,
it's like a desktop.
huh?
It's real small, but it can do 4 bobbins at a time. So I don't know if it was used for prototyping in a smaller lab or not.
Maybe that was Seth Lovers.
Whoa,
Maybe. I don't know if anybody's still alive that would remember this machine. So
maybe you could have like a seance or something.
Anyways,
maybe get my answers that way.
Ask me, Tony. Ask me.
It's getting weird.
Ask me, Tony.
Hey,
What
Todd.
what about you?
What about you? Oh, he's leaving.
Let me go get it.
He's leaving. He's walking out the door. Todd, I didn't mean to upset you. Todd, come back. Please. Please, Todd, come back. Look
It
at
is
that.
quite peaceful.
Ooh, doggies. So I have here. Wait, let me get on the microphone. I'll hand you this because just wipe your hands off first, you greasy
Bullock.
I seriously.
What is it?
I grazed your hand, and I'm like, so what I got to do this week? I was down at my buddy Chase's shop, and we found these old knobs that I spotted them, and I was like, ooh, those need to go on the Explorer. So we're working on this Epiphone Explorer that I've talked about. It's absolutely pristine. And we did the acid bath on all of the hardware. So it looks super cool. And then we've got Zach did a special Brandon wound 12 screw humbucker in it. And
Nice.
and then Tony put a black guard on it, 5-ply.
Yep.
5-ply black guard, and
Covering the opening for the
covering
neck
the
pickup.
opening for the neck pickup. And then, we're like, well, since I don't have that pickup, what's going to go in that middle position in the three controls? And I found this really, really cool paddle switch. It looks like a toggle, but it's actually more like a paddle. That has like a chrome rib running around it. It's really cool, textured black, and it has the directional in red. It says on and on. And now that may be like, why do you have a switch that just is, both of them is on? That in that switch. So if you flip it up, it bypasses the tone
Bypass the tone.
pot and engages a 0047 nanofarad capacitor.
Sure it's not a microfarad?
Microfarad capacitor. That's what I meant.
No resistor.
What I say, Mike? What I say?
You said nanofarad. but that's
Nanofarad,
okay.
yeah, not a nanofarad.
It's a microfarad.
Yeah. The math confuses me. The math confuses me.
Wait, is it 0047 microfarads or 0047 nanofarads?
Microfarads.
It's
0047
Okay.
microfarad.
So
I'm pretty sure.
It's a 4.7 nanofarad.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or is it? Yeah.
So, anyways, it makes the sound.
Yeah, let's.
It does the sound. Actually, Tony could probably open it up and verify that.
I probably could.
So what kind of sound is it?
It is like a very subtle, if you a position on a wah that just makes your solo kind of sound sweeter. Like when you engage a fuzz and then it goes from it gets that kind of nasally, good nasally though,
like a cocktois.
Yeah, it's very cool. It bumps the mid. It's really cool.
Yeah, because that's what happens when you do a tone control on a guitar, right? You get a slight bit of bump before it goes off, and a little bit of resonance, which is why you need to balance out the values of your tone pots and your capacitors.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I did it wrong once and it sounded terrible, and I was like,
this one sounds really
it
good.
gives you that
I like
little bump, right? Yeah, gives that nice little bit of resonance. Oh, brilliant! Yeah,
Yeah, it's super
interesting.
subtle, but it's enough to make it sound different without having to engage like a pedal that's like, oh, clearly you've done something there,
Yeah, it's definitely a capacitor.
Yeah.
He's looking at it right now. I told you it was a capacitor. Anyways, so that I was really, really excited to get that back, and I had a ton of fun playing it. And it's a flippin' beautiful guitar. I'm really, really happy the way they came out, and especially because I got it for an absolute criminal steal. I didn't actually steal it. I just bought it off somebody who never used it ever.
It's a criminal.
Yeah. I felt bad for like not at all. Anyways.
He felt bad for a second.
Yeah. So let's see. Hey, speaking, Tony, speaking of
Yes.
nanofarads and microfarads and capacitors and
Oh,
resistors, yes. If you have a box that's full of those things, it's probably a pedal.
Ah.
And if you have that box and you have more boxes, you need to connect those boxes with Tour Gear Designs patch cables.
Precisely.
These are magnificent little pieces of ingenuity, and they are immensely cost effective and highly reliable.
And flat.
And pretty flat, too.
Flat.
Very, very small.
And a very teeny, tiny plug.
All the sizes you could possibly imagine, and highly recommend getting your pedal board sorted up. At Hex's show, I posted a shot of him. He's got a big giant pedal board, and it's just loaded with Tour Gear. And I was like, "That a boy."
I'm told they make two shapes.
They do, a U and a C.
I thought it was a C and an S.
By C and an S, I mean by U and a C, I mean C and an S. I'm getting all confused.
Oh, he's just
my numbers and letters are not working.
Yeah, he's getting very, very dyslexic. If you put in the coupon code the guitar knobs, you're going to save an extra 15%.
Yes.
15.
We did a poor cue on him for that. That's
Okay.
fair. That's fair. So anyway, thank you to Tour Gear Designs Patch Cables for sponsoring our 4 on the floor. Jared?
Let me get a little bit of this. 1, 2, 3. 4 on the floor.
All right, Wolly of Champion Leccy, give us your 4 on the floor.
Well, tonight I am going to bequeath my 4 on the floor to Jared.
That's right. It's been a long time since I did a 4 on the floor, like 6 years ago.
Wow.
That is a long time.
The pedals have changed, so I'd like to talk about the 4 pedals that I use all the time now.
Sounds
If
good.
that's okay with
that was very
everybody.
kind of you, Wolly, by the way. I think we just glazed over that. But that was
I just use the
magnanimous,
same
you
4
might
pedals
say.
all
yeah.
the time, so
yeah. Anyway,
Thanks, Wolly.
go ahead, Jared.
So the number 1 pedal I have that I do use all the time is my Klon Centaur. I got it for a pretty good price compared to the current value, and I really enjoy the sound a lot. It does have a great sound, and does anybody have any questions about this pedal?
No.
I've never
move on
heard
to
of
the next.
a Klon
Yeah.
pedal before. Can you tell us what that is?
Yeah.
How about number 2?
So it's a Klon clone from China.
Aha.
It's the one that, so I don't know the brand because it's from China, and Tony helped me get it. And
Nice.
I love the sound of that one as well. It sounds just a tiny bit different, but I like to layer that one on top of the Klon Centaur to get more, just to, instead of leaning down and turning up the gain on the one, I can just press a button, press a pedal and
So it's like
layer it up.
a second gain stage.
Yeah.
It's exactly what that is. If I'm just playing straight through something and not using amp distortion.
And it's 10,000% cheaper, which is also cool.
Yeah, exactly.
How about number 3?
Correct. My Unipedal by 29 Pedals is awesome.
Yeah.
It's I had to wait a while to get that. It's a very popular pedal. I like it because it feels like it clears the signal and all the effects up. It gets rid of that. I don't know. the Wolly neck sound we were talking about earlier.
Oh yeah, so is it kind of if I remember right, that's like a kind of a buffer pedal, kind of magic pedal.
Buffer
kind of.
magic.
It's kind of a magic.
Yeah, frequency boost kind of thing.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, it's super fantastic. So that
we ran into him out at NAMM.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, and he is going to be coming back on the show because he's got something else he's cooking up.
Nice.
Yeah.
How about number 4?
Well, one more thing about the unipedal.
Oh yes.
The thing that I love about that the most is when you're using older modular effects, it really, really, really brings those to life. Especially stereo choruses seem to darken your tone a little bit. Anything modular can darken your tone, especially the old vintage. Come on, Jared. The Mutron pedals that I have. So, yeah. Mutron.
Will you put Jared back on, please?
Yeah.
And then the what I talked about maybe a few podcasts ago, a while ago, number 4 that I've been using so much for recording is my Mel 9 by Electro Harmonics. It is by far one of the coolest and most useful pedals I have ever bought, and it transforms your guitar into a mellotron.
That's neat.
So that I use it all. It just has a fantastic use, and it's very touch sensitive as well with the volume, and it's crazy technology that I don't know if I'll ever understand. So
too cool.
Shout out to the Electro Harmonics on that. That's fantastic.
Nice.
Brilliant.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, isn't it?
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for sharing that, Jared. It's good to hear where you're at with those things these days. Wolly.
Thanks for that.
Yeah. So we have Wolly on the show mainly to talk about this new pedal of his and also just kind of catch up and see how he's doing on things.
It's been a while.
It has. It's actually, it's been since November of 22 since he was last on.
That's a long time.
It is.
Are we?
Yeah. So this is your 4th episode, Wolly. And that's, that's very important.
Prestigious. It's my lucky number as well.
Yeah. Let's see. Your first. So you were first on. Let's see here. Looking this up. Trying to recall this.
Holy moly!
2017 or 2018?
Yeah.
2017.
08.
2017.
Is that possibly right? Episode 80.
Episode 80. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy pants. And that's back when you were doing all of all the pedals were all hand painted and everything.
Hand painted. Yeah, every single one.
We have a couple of those. I have one. We have one.
We got
very precious.
We each got one of those. And
then number 142.
Yep.
And then this last time through was number 292. So, oh my God.
Yeah. So this is going to be episode number 358.
Nice.
Wow.
Bananas.
Wow.
And we're, you keep making stuff. So if people keep making stuff, we'll keep bringing it back on. Them's the rules. We don't just parade people out in front of you all just because
no one and done's here.
It's getting lonely on the telephone line. You gotta be making some stuff, man. So, Wolly, let's get to it. You are famous for, because you're weird, and
nice
in the best way.
Yes, please insult the guests, Todd.
And if you doubt me, all you have to do is go on our website and you'll see a picture of him upside down with a foil hat on his head. So, hey, I'm not making this stuff up.
That's true.
But you also have somehow cornered the market on just like wildly entertaining and humorous and effective weird sounding pedals. pedals that make all kinds of noises at once. It's guaranteed that if you make something, it's gonna be like, this is gonna do a bunch of stuff, and you're gonna have a great time playing it, and it's also super fun to look at, and it's coming from a genuine human being who is genuine and authentic in his own right.
And there's a pretty good chance that there will be a pair of underpants painted on it.
Or for sure a skull. For sure a skull, right? Yeah.
So on the
both.
daughter board of the foot switch, for every single Champion Leccy pedal, there is some underpants on the daughter board. So inside every Champion Leccy pedal, there are underpants.
Yes.
I love it.
The underpants are on the inside.
Just for good luck.
Yes.
Yeah.
I absolutely love that. So Wolly,
Where they go?
tell me tell us about this new pedal.
So, yeah, I mean, to just kind of go back a half step, designing pedals with my weird brain is a bit non-linear. So I'm pretty sure that last time I was on, I was like, oh yeah, this is definitely going to be the next pedal. And it absolutely wasn't, because something happened when I was designing and I was like, oh, this isn't quite good enough. And then my brain was like, hey, but yeah, sorry about that. I know you promised that out loud on air to everyone, but I've got some great ideas for this other one that had gone by the wayside like years ago. I think the first prototype PCB for the Skitsy, which is the new one that we're talking about, was 2021. And then I kind of like lost my way. Yeah. And I was like, oh, I don't know. And then my brain
is this the one that you and I talked about on the
ideas.
phone? I was talking about some reverb stuff, and you go, actually, I have an idea that I'm working on.
That might be that one, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like years ago, yeah. Yeah, so like that, sometimes I'll have something and I'm like, oh yeah, that's great, I'll be really excited about it, and I get the prototype back and something won't be right. And sometimes I'll work it out and I'll bish bash bosh get it out, and sometimes I like just have to step away, and sometimes something's kind of going okay, but my brain will go, hey, remember that pedal from 3 years ago? I've worked it out for you. And then I'll be like, oh, and it's like, and then it's kind of like an avalanche of just like idea after idea. And that really happened with the Skitsy. So as you probably guessed from the name, it's got a little bit of DNA from the Skitter, which is a modulated reverb. It's like a tremolo reverb.
Yeah.
There's tremolo on the dry signal and there's tremolo on the reverb. And then the Woozy, which does like lo-fi chorus and tape wibbles and all that kind of stuff. And I wanted to kind of meld the two ideas, and I did. But in the first prototype, I got it back and I was like, oh, it just kind of sounds a bit like those two pedals, which shouldn't have been a surprise, but it was. And then,
Yeah.
and
Wait
I was
a minute.
just like, that's
These
not
Reese's
good
Pieces
enough.
taste just like peanut butter and chocolate.
And chocolate, yeah. But yeah, and then I said, that's not good enough. Like, I don't want to just do that. So what I ended up with is it's got more like design chops squished in there than like any other pedal. I condensed it down from being like a bigger size into the same size enclosure as the Woozy. It's a double-sided board. Well, the traces are obviously on both sides, but it's got components on both sides of the board. It's the first time I've done that. I moved to the smaller parts. Like, it's got 3 layers, 3 rows of controls. It's got more ICs in than the Swan Hunter, which is in a bigger enclosure. I just worked out a bunch of stuff and like kept on condensing it and coming up with more ideas. I added some internal controls. So players, after playing with all of the crazy stuff it does on the outside, if they're like, you know what, I would like this to do this a little bit more, a little bit less. There's a bunch of controls to do that for several of the outboard controls. But it's dialed in so you get everything on the outside, but can make some like little adjustments once you've really delved into the all the stuff that it does. But yeah, I really, really pushed the boat out with this one.
Yeah, you did.
So, yeah. So basically, it's got the same LFO as all my pedals do, with like 8 different waveforms and rate and depth. And then I took the Belton brick which is a kind of like faux spring reverb, which I really like to work with because it's, I don't do any like DSP, digital signal processing type stuff, which a lot of other people do. I like the more analog approach, like block approach, and composing things as you would a song. So it's got that for the reverb, and then I have two reverbs that are in parallel, and they get modulated in different ways.
Oh boy.
So the first one can be just as like spring-ish kind of faux whatever reverb, which is a very nice reverb. It's got a good amount of pre-delay, so it gets out of the way of what you're playing, and it has, nice swell afterwards. And you can do a tremolo on that, or you can do ring mod on that. Because I did a phase cancellation tremolo where it's cancelling itself out twice per LFO swing. What's it called? Cycle. Mm-hmm. So it's twice the rate. And when you double the rate and it gets faster, it basically becomes like a ring mod sound because the frequencies sum and it creates these other frequencies in your signal. So it's a reverb with tremolo or ring mod on the top one. And then the reverb below it has all this stuff that I did in the Woozy. So you can do like a resonant reverb by having high feedback. You can have an echo on the reverb. So the reverb repeats like an echo. You can do like tape wibbles and all this other stuff. And then you can move that one further back so they're like not on top of each other. And you get like this crazy mishmash of like the two doing their things. And on top of that, on certain settings, the two reverbs are out of phase, so they cancel each other out in different ways. So it's just like almost unlimited textures to this modulated reverb. Yeah, so there, that's it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Could you have added a few other features?
No. But so like about 6 months ago, I was telling people, I was like, oh yeah, I'm just about ready to go. And then I was like, oh no, I've got another idea for it. I'm going to have to see if this works. And then it would. And I ended up, I was going to start production with, I think it was revision 2.1 of the PCB. And the one that's actually the production model now is 2.6. Because I kept on just having these small ideas. I was like, oh, if I just do this little thing and then do that, that'll do that, and I'll be phased, I'll cancel that. And so it's just because it's like, when you're writing a song, to write a good song, you've got to keep on going over and over, sort out your transition, sort out your layers, making sure you're not doing stuff that's too plain, and just adding all this stuff in, like going, okay, this guitar thing that we're doing here, maybe the bass should do that, and then the vocals will like this, and you get all the layers and the depth. And it's just, that's how I view designing a pedal, is the same as like composing a good song, but it takes a lot of work and a lot of repetition.
So this is kind of like a Tesla with snowmobile tracks and a camper on it.
I don't know about the Tesla part, but maybe like a Saab.
Yeah, maybe a Subaru Brat. Maybe. How about that?
Yeah. Jump seats.
Yeah.
And a sidecar.
Yes. A sidecar.
Oh, of course.
Yes. Exactly. Wow. Yeah. There's a lot going on here. Who is this pedal for?
I don't know. But people bought them, so.
But that's
very,
fantastic.
very happy.
That's kind of the cool thing. It's not like so focused that it's only for a single audience. The last one.
Do you remember
when you did the skitter?
So I was going to say,
when you did the skitter, I mean, that was sort of the foreshadowing to the first foreshadowing to this pedal, and that pedal, I had to spend some time with it, but what I ultimately found is I really love a certain combination that I come up with. Like, I mean, it was like, oh, I wouldn't have naturally just gotten to this sound, but I'm really glad that I concocted it.
Yeah.
So you have many more things to do that with on this.
Yeah.
Oh, and
Yeah,
by
so
the way,
there's so many
in the
options.
Subaru Brat, in the back of the camper is a salad bar. Now that's complete.
Yeah, one thing I was going to say is, do you remember? It was probably like the first time we talked. I did some kind of like crazy oscillating fuzzes around that time.
Yes.
And they were great, but they did like lots of crazy stuff and not a lot of useful stuff. And after I can't remember which one it was. I was like, you know what? Like, I need to make sure that my pedals go from very, very usable and nice and like tasteful sounds all the way through to crazy.
Yes.
Like, you can't just do crazy. You've got to be able to like have like a lot of range, and this has more range than anything else that I've done.
It really does. And what's neat is if you get really familiar with those things, you don't have to go like, okay, I found a sound I like, but you know, sometimes if the pedal is doing too much, you're like, I don't want to ever deviate, so you just leave it there. But the way that you have, well, first of all, the types of controls you have on this, and I do think that the way that you name them actually gives the user greater control on how to use it, because you're very whimsical with it. You know, like hangover, okay, and cheer and sway verb and backwash. Those things is how it sounds, not what the technically thing is that it's doing.
Yeah, and some of the, like, sometimes I'll give something a name because there's no, it's, you know, like if you have a distortion pedal and it's like, well, this is gain and this is level, this is volume.
Yeah.
That's fine. But a lot of the controls, it's not that easy because it's kind of doing weird things that I can't explain in one word, like, you know, like tone or whatever.
Right.
So I have to like be a bit more descriptive with some of it.
Yeah. Now, you know, in your early pedals, you were using a lot of Geordie slang, as I recall.
Yeah.
Now, and for those who have not experienced Wolly in our previous episodes, please go back and listen, because they are great fun, and you'll have a great time. But so, can you tell us just, you know, where you're from and why some of the words are so colorful that you use?
So I am originally from the northeast of England, from Tyneside, North Tyneside. I ended up in Philadelphia just because it felt right. And a lot of the words that I've used are from my I was going to say old dialect. That sounds horrible. My current and old dialect, Geordie. And yeah, a lot of things I just kind of added in, like the dunch. Dunch is like a collision, the sound of a collision. Back home. So we have phrases like different dunches, which please do not bump into me. And, you know, stuff like that. So actually, another thing, so I don't think there's any Geordie references on the outside of the pedal, but
not this
on
one.
the inside, on the PCB, on pretty much every PCB, I do use a bit of a poem from a Geordie poet.
I love it.
And different poets each time.
Yeah. Well, some of your other ones, the divvy, what's that come from?
Yeah, divvy is a moron.
Okay.
And then I did the divvy and the fettle boost. And fettle is your mood or your condition. It was also a J-fet boost, which is why I included that name.
Clever.
I did a pedal that was the divvy and the fettle boost in one, and that was called the numpty. And the numpty is also an idiot. Yeah, I originally called the divvy because it was just a one knob fuzz.
Yeah.
And I thought it was the idea of like making a big fuzz for a big idiot.
Well, and one of the neat things that we love, the Fettle Boost is the first thing that we ever talked to you about. And, you know, we were just really blown away with the way it sounded. And they were, you know, they were just, I've never seen anything like those as far as the graphics go. You have an entire graphic language, which is it's all your own. And it's so unique to you, which I think is really cool. And one of the things one of the switches is called the Clart.
Yes. So yeah, clarts or clarty is dirt or dirty in my dialect. So it's a dirt switch.
There you go. Now, referencing some of these old pedals, you originally used to hand paint all these pedals, which was incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a lot of work. Too much work, really.
Yeah. Have you considered doing any like special editions or releases where you dip back into your hand painted art?
It's definitely something that I've thought about. It's a little bit impractical where I am to have an area that I can spray them and like prep them and everything. But I have started to do some little paintings, like exactly the same art style, exactly the same like paint pens on small canvases that I'm going to start putting out into the world. Yeah, because that is a lot easier. And you can hang it on your wall. You don't want to hang a pedal on your wall. Yeah.
It's true.
So hopefully this year I'm going to do that.
We will be very excited, and we will we're officially first in line for that. Okay, just so you know. All right.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I don't want to see no number 275, Wolly. We worked too hard to get that. So what is the most exciting thing for you as far as the new release of the Skitsy?
I don't know. So I've been very, very busy. So right now the most exciting thing is not being incredibly busy and being able to play guitar every day and like practice with the band twice a week again. Getting my life back after it is quite exciting. But it's, actually, you know what? This is the first proper post-pandemic release. So it's kind of been interesting to see where the market is because it's very different to how it was.
Yeah.
And I think one of the really exciting things is seeing that things are kind of leveling out and that things are becoming more predictable. And like, you know, it wasn't as big as like the Swan Hunter when that came out, because that was the middle of pandemic when everyone was buying everything and all the prices shot up.
Yeah.
But it was a really good, solid release, and it's good. And I've got a bunch of retailers now, and people are coming back for more, and I've got back orders. So I've got, you know, plenty of work ahead of me for that. So that's really exciting to know that like there's a lot more stability to the game again and predictability, so I can kind of work smart, I guess.
Yeah. Are you still solely producing them?
Yeah, I've got I've had a couple of people who've done some like prep work for me, and I've got a guy who's actually just a couple of blocks away who preps the PCBs, and then I'll do a lot of this stuff of like various things I have to measure and stuff, and then like obviously like check his work, put some of the components in, he'll check my work and what have you, and then I finish and test everything though. So that's something that I haven't been able to hand on to anyone else yet.
You mean the testing?
But, you know, like it's, testing and just making sure, because like, you know, I'll sign inside every single pedal to say that it's tested, and it's because it's been, was it 2016 I started, I guess? Yeah. So it's been a long time, and, you know, building this brand and everything's going well, and it's very difficult to let people into certain parts because, you know, it's me and it's my name, and, you know, it can be difficult. So yeah, it's something that I'm definitely considering in the future. I'm expanding slowly, probably over the next year. I've definitely got some really good retailers now that I'm very excited about. I'm just going to see where it goes, but we're definitely hitting the point where, probably need to look at getting more bodies in building.
That's pretty cool, man. The fact that you are stable and upwardly mobile enough to be able to do that, that's fantastic. Now, you know, one thing that I know that we love, and I'm sure a lot of other people love, is that your pedals are really collectible too, because you create the art that's on these. Granted, some of the some in the first year or maybe even 2, you were doing hand painted pedals, and but regardless, your art style is still very collectible, whether it's hand painted or not, which is one of the things that's always exciting. Is like, what did he do on this pedal? Are you going to be doing any merch anytime soon?
I've found merch can be a bit funny because you tend to sell loads at release and then it drops off quite drastically after that. I have thought about it. I know that there's someone who does. I did a hot sauce for a bit.
Yes, you did.
But I ended up pretty much just using all of them myself because they were so delicious. It was so good. The hot sauce was so good. I was thinking about doing a coffee, but again, I'm worried that I will just end up drinking all the coffee.
Yeah, that's also a kind of a saturated field too.
Yeah.
But you know what?
How about underpants?
Underpants and mugs, coffee mugs.
Actually, I do have a great little design that's built off the skitsy art that I wanted to use for something, but I think it needs to be full color. And if I get like t-shirts or something done, then it's usually like a local screen printer, so it's just one color.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe it's coffee mugs would be the way.
I do.
Actually, yeah.
Again, we're in line. We're waiting.
Absolutely.
And you can get those done with the drop shipping bit where you just they're printed on demand. I mean, I know you got your own ways that you got to do things and all that stuff, but that would be great because I think aside from your pedals, like your art is just really cool to be part of. So there.
I like Salinas. You may have noticed.
Yeah, so do we. You may have noticed. So are you? You're doing shows. Any shows that you're going to be showing your pedals at anytime soon, where people can come see them?
I don't think they've got. I don't think there's anything else lined up. I think the last one I did was Chicago. It's like August. I need to look at that. I need to think about that.
Mm-hmm. Come to the Nashville show.
So I don't drive, which is a big problem in America.
Oh, that's right.
Bust down.
I need to look around and see what's going on.
Cool. Hey, so
I'll pick you up at the airport.
Aside from what you're doing, you obviously have a beat on what's going on in the pedal world. What are some of the things that you're kind of leaning into or that are exciting you?
Actually, I have really dropped off with pedals recently. I know it's a bizarre thing to say for someone who that's like 100% of their life. But I've really haven't been paying attention for a while now. I've been so caught up with the skitsy and the band as well. Like I was saying, with for the 4 and 4, I use exactly the same things. Like it's a lot of people when they see us play and they go, "Oh, let's see you board." And I go, "There you go." They're like, "Oh," because it's just like compressor, chorus, dirt pedal, reverb, delay pedal, and there's no like crazy weird stuff on there. Like the pedals so the music that I listen to, the music that I write, the pedals that I create, or the music that gets made with the pedals that I create is all very, very different. Mm-hmm. Each has their own joy, I guess. Oh yeah, you know what? So not pedals, but amps. Amps is what I've kind of ended up getting more excited about. Because I've kind of hit that wall in terms of the pedals that I want to build, I have like so many ideas, and that's kind of like, I've just got to get through them. In terms of the pedals I used to play, I've kind of hit a wall there, but I'm really excited about like amps, like that I'm kind of like going down the signal chain. And speakers and speaker cabs is something that I've kind of gotten far more interested in than I've ever been. So yeah, I'm kind of looking around at amps and trying not to buy too many.
Yeah. So tell us about, some of the stuff that you've been excited about.
So I love Fender Twin Reverb. It's absolutely fantastic, but I just look at one in my back and just go bing, and I can't walk for 3 days. So I have one in the practice room, and we will take it out for shows, but I can't now because I messed my back up and I'm too old. But the Milkman, the Amp 100 is what I've been using for shows.
Oh.
And it's great. It's so light, and it does like a good Fender sound for like just zero weight. It's so tiny and light. It's excellent. It's just got one tube in there, but I'm fascinated by that. And I've kind of actually been, so one thing that I really like about you is that you all have a really good broad base of knowledge and like good historical knowledge, because I just don't have any of that. I didn't grow up in a very rich guitar culture by any means. Like no one knew anything. There wasn't the internet about. There wasn't like educated people to be like, hey, here's how this works. Don't break your guitar by messing up the truss rod or whatever. And I'm kind of discovering a lot of that stuff now. And I've been just looking at loads of the old Fender schematics. Are you going to make the coolest thing to me now? Yes, I'm doing it now.
There we go.
Looking over, I've got the head shell like just like 6 feet away from me. So,
nice. Oh, that's really cool. Let's just talk about head shells really quick. One of the things that we discovered talking to quite a few people at NAMM was we were starting to see, and have been, I think we all collectively have been. It's not necessarily the big wood box with the Tolex anymore. They've been getting very open to different types of enclosures. Think about like satellite amps. Bad Cat has a brand new one that's aluminum. Victory amps. There's and several others, but I think 33 amps does one like that. Anyways, they're all over the place, but it's just gotten to a point where it's like, it's what we are hearing is it's cost prohibitive, and most of the people that are making the amps are not woodworkers. So it's the classic, I want to make pedals. Well, what do I have? I've got ideas. I don't know anything about electronics. Guess can't make a pedal. I'm not saying that that's what you should. You should do it anyways, but that's the mentality. Or I'm an awesome electronics person, but I don't have any idea of what the sounds can do, or making art, or doing social, or promoting my. There are so many limitations based on the form factor you're doing. You could be a great builder, but you could be a crap painter, or, or crap electronics. So some people, there are unicorns that are really good at all components of this. And that's just something that we heard out there, which was, I think, kind of cool. And also the portability of it. A big, heavy wood head is difficult to haul around, but a smaller, a smaller aluminum one is much easier. Where are you at with absolutely.
That? So, like I said, in terms of like me playing, like I have the Milkman, and it's fantastic because it's one of those small aluminium boxes. But the thing that it doesn't have that the Twin does is 2 6L6s. Well, I mean, the Twin has 4, but I need 2 basically. So that's the thing, is that I really noticed that like 50 watts is plenty. Like you just don't need more than 50 watts, because speakers are so much more efficient now.
Yeah.
So like, you used to need more power to drive the worse speakers, but like 50 watts is fantastic. And, I can get,
30 or 40 will do the trick. I mean, an AC 30.
Yeah.
That'll blow your ears out
Yeah,
if you're not careful.
But yeah, like I think like basically what I want is the kind of like I think it's AB763 circuit, which is like the black panel Fender twin reverb type deal. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to cut out the tremolo and the reverb to make it lighter, a tiny bit lighter, just have less going on. But I still want like two 6L6s, like what's got two? Is it super reverb? So two 6L6s. Does the deluxe reverb have two 6L6s?
I think the deluxe
Mine's gone blank.
Had 6 V6s.
6 V6s. That's right. Yeah. But yeah, like that. So I don't need crazy amounts of headroom like a twin. I want a separate cab and a separate head that both weigh under 30 pounds.
Yeah.
That's kind of like what I'm aiming for, just as a starting point. So I have like a small. It's like a tiny little head, like Fender style head. I'm just going to build in there and just keep on going back and tweaking it until it's right. And then I've got some other ideas that I want to add.
I like it.
I've already messed with it. So there's anyone who builds pedals or is into that kind of thing, or amps, there's an online tone stack calculator that you can just go around and mess with all the values and change values and do the sliders and see what the EQ looks like. And I think that like pretty much everyone that I know has probably lost days of their life to this calculator. It's been, what if I do that? What if I change this one? Oh, I changed it. Oh, yeah. And they're just like watching the sweeps of like what the EQ is going to do. So spent a lot of time on that. Yeah. And a lot of the stuff that I ended up tweaking, I think changed the tone stack to be in terms of how it looks on a schematic, it's Fender, but in terms of the values, it's Marshall, almost. So I want to hear what that sounds like.
Yeah, you mean dipping into the Marshall realm?
Well, accidentally, apparently, because I saw a Marshall tone set, and I was like, oh, those are the same values I've put in my one.
Yeah.
Pretty much. And yeah, like kind of there's probably going to be a little bit of crossover with some of the Mesa stuff, like the Mark series, like some of those, like the shift controls where you kind of like within the EQ, as I like to do with the Dunch, like adding some things into to shift where you are boosting or cutting from.
Man.
So yeah, that's first building block. I obviously have like 5 more building blocks down the line that I've planned out, but I just need to get the first one. Mm-hmm. First one first. First things first.
Well, that's cool. And then, as with everything else, you play around a little bit, maybe make some changes, version 2, version 3, version 10.
Yeah.
That's really cool, though.
Yeah, and it's really exciting because, when I first started with pedals, there was so much that I didn't know. And I was like, what happens if I just put this in here? Oh, it's blown up. Okay, whatever, put it here. Oh, this sounds terrible. Now it's not working. And, just kind of learning stuff, then going reading and looking at other people's schematics and, just the joy of learning it. And now pedals is a business.
Yeah.
And I don't get that same joy, but I'm reading so much about amps because I've never really used tubes. I'm aware of them. Mm-hmm. And like transformers as well. I don't really use them. So going in and reading exactly how these things work and, like all these other elements to it, it's like, oh, that's so cool. Yeah. That's so cool. And then, it gives you a better understanding of audio electronics as a whole. So,
yeah. And are you doing, I'm assuming you're doing point-to-point wiring on at least on your prototypes.
Yeah, definitely.
That's cool.
So, Wolly, what is next? I know you just talked about an amp, and I know you got this brand new pedal. Is there next, or are you officially? I'm done with making pedals.
No, what I'm gonna do is I have a version 2 of the Kilter that I'm almost finished with, which is going to be in a smaller box and have a little bit more going on. And I'm working on a version 3 of the Skitter that needs a little bit more work, but I should hopefully have out by the end of this year. So I haven't built any of the Kilter or Skitter pedals for kind of pretty almost a year. I'm a little bit behind. But yeah, I still want to have those in the line. So I've used everything that I've learned from the Skitsy, just about, improving the power section, squishing things down, putting components on both sides of the boards. All that stuff I'm applying to the Kilter and the Skitter first. So new versions of those. I do have an idea for a canny version of the Fettle Boost, which would basically borrow a lot of the architecture of the Dunch with all the EQ options, but have the Fettle sound. So it'll be a super tweakable version of the Fettle Boost, which will probably be next year. I never have enough time to sit down and get through the designs that I want, because it's a business and I've got to do all the other business things to have a business.
Yeah, that
Like
part
building
never
pedals.
that part never ends.
Yeah, it's killer, isn't it?
Oh my.
Well, I think it's probably good time to say thank you so much, Wolly, for sharing what you've been doing. It's been fantastic talking with you.
It's bedtime, isn't it?
It's getting close, I imagine.
Yeah.
We are going to dip into Would You Ratherville.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's come to the time of the show where Tony Bolonsky, Wolly, and Todd hop in the old El Camino.
And we're gonna let Wolly drive.
I think actually today, we're letting him drive. I think we are actually today. We are taking the Subaru.
Oh, the Subaru Brat camper salad bar,
camper salad bar with the snowmobile tracks.
Perfect.
Hey, that'll work. Down to Nashville, and we're going to play a little game of Would You Rather?
Wow.
So you're walking down the street, and some fella you've never seen before hands you these tickets. And lo and behold, they're tickets to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame ceremony in New York.
New York City.
And you're like, oh my gosh, I gotta go. So you get to New York, you go to the thing, and you're in the ceremony, and it's going along, and you're having a great time. And the end of the night jam, old Keith Richards points at you and goes, "Hey, come on, play." And you're like, "Oh, right." And that means, hey, you come on up and play with us. So you get up and you go towards the back, and you go backstage, and the tech is like, listen, I got 2 guitars left for you. I have an extra heavy 70s Silverburst Les Paul, weighing it at 15 pounds. Just extra stupid heavy. I think somebody was carrying gold in it or something. It's gold heavy. And hiding gold in there. Or you can choose a pink Barbie themed Squire with weak, noisy single coil pickups. So which guitar are you going to use to play on stage with all the greats like Keith Richards and Jimmy Page and, all the guys, all the people, Slash and Billy Strings.
What kind of Squire is this?
It's just the junkiest. It's
is
just
it
a
Stratocaster.
Squire.
It's a Strat.
Okay, it's a Strat.
Yeah, Stratocaster Squire. Sorry, I wasn't more specific. It's definitely a Stratocaster Squire.
Okay.
Barbie Pink.
It probably plays okay too, but it just has just beginner like regular cheapo pickups in it.
Gotcha.
Like single coils.
Gotcha.
Beginner's grade. You know what I mean? So
Okay.
I'm not knocking on Squire. They have good stuff, but
Yeah.
do you want to play that on stage?
Don't bias
Barbie Squire.
don't bias this too much. Let's see here. So
I know.
Tony,
Yes, Todd.
what are you going to do here?
No brainer. I mean, it's one song, right? One long extended jam.
It goes on. Yeah, it goes on about 30 minutes. It's because the television camera only gets about 3 minutes of it.
Well, even so, even with 30 minutes, I can endure an extra heavy Les Paul Silverburst over
Nice.
a Squire any day of the week. I mean, it would be worth going to the countless chiropractor visits later. But I mean, that to me, that would be certainly the best option. And I'm a sucker for a Silverburst too. So
Really?
yeah, it's just one of those paint jobs that
100%.
always got me.
Yeah.
Much like Wolly with his V. I mean, it just looks very cool.
I'm not saying it doesn't. I was surprising you said that.
Oh yeah, I love
Yeah.
Silverburst.
Okay. All right. That's cool.
Yeah. So that's my choice.
All right. Let's see. Jared, how about yourself?
Yeah, so I took Wolly with me, right? So Wolly's in the back with me, and he paints a pair of underwear on the Barbie guitar, and that's what I take out. Now let's go to the original scenario. If that wasn't the case, I would. Oh, I'd regret it later, but I'd do the 15-pounder Gibson.
Yeah.
Those things were heavy in the 70s, man. They were heavier than a boat anchor, a rusty one.
They were made of concrete.
Yeah.
Genuine.
All right, Wolly, about yourself.
So I think this one's pretty easy. So I'm going to go with the Les Paul because you've said that it's £15. I'm assuming that the guitar tech is Keith Richards' guitar tech, and Keith Richards is a pirate, so it's definitely got gold in it. so I'm just going to walk away slowly with this guitar that's filled with gold, working out, get the gold out, and then buy a Pink Barbie Squire Strat of my own.
There you go.
I love
Making a lot of assumptions there now, Wolly.
What about you, Todd?
I mean, I think it's relatively unanimous. I'm definitely going to pick the Les Paul for sure. So, yeah, that sounds pretty. I mean, that'd be fantastic, and it'd be fitting probably with that kind of music too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I do love a Stratocaster. So,
yes, your secret indulgence.
Actually, Michael Van Zant sent a really hilarious post to me that I think I'm probably going to end up sharing. I usually don't like to dog too much on stuff on the things that we have out there, but it's too good, and I think I'm probably going to post it because it's really hilarious. Tony
Yes?
Baloney, why don't you get on with your list there?
Well, that's right, Todd, because at this point of the show, there's a special group of people that we love to thank. These are our executive producers. Now, an executive producer makes this show possible. How do you become one? Easy as pie. 3.1416. Head over to patreon.com/the guitar knobs. Check out a couple different levels in which you can participate, become a friend, a patron, a hero
Yes,
of the podcast.
it's true.
That's right.
Each level comes with some very significant thank you gifts and giveaways. We just announced 2 giveaways today to our executive producers.
Yep.
But there's one thing more. Jared, what would that be?
You get to have your name read on the thing.
Your name read on the thing. That's what I'm going to do right now. So special thanks, excuse me, to these executive producers. Vader and Pedals, John Halverson, Rick Calhoun, Trevor Gunberg, Elad Mizrahi, Mike D, Richard Kendall, James White, Motander Guitars, Bill Gola Guitars, John Esterly from Rare Buzz Effects, Anthony Lathrop, Stefan Lamb, Michael Senchuk, Ken Sayers, Darren Gregory, Tom Barazin, Rusty Sneeden, Ralph Gottschalk from Wonderful Audio Technology. What? Don Kloss, Gregory Randall, Brett Hogarth, Eric Hemmer, Stuart George, Michael Furman, James Bell, James Romer, Cameron Pappas, Trevor Ellenberg, Christopher Logan, and John Sebastian.
Moo.
But wait, Todd, there's more.
all right.
We have an elite group of executive producers. We like to call them our grand poobahs. These folks are the creme de la creme, the top of the heap, number ones. So special thanks to these grand poobahs. Tommy Manasco, Ricardo Higuereda, David Kaminga, Brandon Wan Pickups, Hex Matos, Michio Murakishi, Bob Crouch, Jack Cadian, Sam Jett, Tyler Casey Rhines, LSJ Music Company, John Williams, James Pennington, Steve Keys, Cody Foster, Science of Sound, Brian Robison, Jonathan Jerusik from 12th Hour Devices, Corey Nigro, Michael Van Zant, Tim Nowak, Jonathan Daly, Martin Cliff, Sean S. David Poe, Billy Spitfire Unlimited, and Heather Spitfire Unlimited. Congregation Gear Demos, Paul Von Eppinger, Scott Sullivan, Great Lakes Guitar Pickups, Matt Hart, Enrico Fernando, Moon Guitars, Adam Johnson, Eric Edwards, David Tyndall, and Anthony Gemalero.
Oh man, we are so grateful for you guys. You keep the machine rolling. You keep our hearts, the cockles of our souls warmed. Yes.
Yeah.
Keep the heat on.
Indeed. And Wolly, what would be a really Jordian way to say thank you so much?
Cheers now.
That's it? Oh, okay. We'll take it.
All right, cheers now.
Hey, speaking of cheers now, Wolly, we want to thank you for coming on our shows, for spending time with us. For a fourth time, we'd have you back every week if we could. And by the way, if you ever get bored and you just want to jump on with us, you are more than welcome. I suspect with all of this amazing new pedalness and everything else you're doing, you're going to stay pretty busy. So we probably won't talk to you for a while, but please, everybody, go out and get your hands on some of Champion Leccy's stuff. And where can people go get that?
So yeah, they could go to my website, which is championleccy.com. Leccy is Leccy. Or they can find me on Instagram, which is just Champion Leccy, at Champion Leccy.
Excellent. Tony?
Yeah.
And also thank you all as well very much. It's always a hoot. Always a good time with you lads.
Thank you. I'm gonna actually paint that on the wall.
Love it.
Tony, where can people find you?
Head over to pickguardian.com. Check out some of the things that I have available for sale through the website, but a lot of what I do is custom work. So shoot me an email. Let me know what you're trying to do. And, hey, I've got good advice from time to time. And I'll make something custom for you.
Indeed. Jared?
I have a project for Tony Bolonsky. I'm bringing to you tomorrow.
Nice.
So if you guys, if anybody wants to get a hold of me and talk pickups or guitars or whatever you want to do, jared.allen.brandon on Instagram.
All right.
Chat me up.
You can shoot me an email at todd@theguitarknobs.com, or better yet, you can send me a DM on Instagram. We'd love to talk to you. Say hi. Tell us what you're all about, and, let's get a conversation going. We really, truly enjoy those, and we read them all and listen to them all and all that business. So without further ado, have a fantastic Guitar Week, everybody, and subscribe!
Yeah.
Breaking up all over the place. Let me try that again.
Let's get that over.
See, Wolly, we're as good as we were 6 years ago.
Maybe better.
Wolly, how are the zombies out there right now? We'll probably get into this some more, but probably, I don't know. How are the zombies doing?
Which zombies?
The Philadelphia zombies.
I do not stray to that part of town, and with very, very good reason. Absolutely terrifying.
Yeah, that's super scary stuff. I think Tony's dropping a deuce.
He's great. Less filling.
He walked away. We love having you, man, and we miss you when you're gone. Thanks for the response too. That was I felt it in my heart right there.
I was nodding. I was trying to
Nodding, yes, that's a good one. Yes,
I keep on
I was
doing that,
nodding. Couldn't you hear me?
I do it every single episode where I'm just like,
Back, just back away from the mic and let's see what happens.
Backing away from this motherfucker.
Wolly, wolly, wolly. Wolly, wolly, wolly. You never hear that, do you? You're like,
I heard that.
why doesn't anybody ever say that to me? That's what you were saying in your head. I knew it.
Wolly and I are just fine with each other. You suck.
I'm just saying. I'm. We'll say that all again, Wolly. We still mean it. You know.
No, he doesn't mean it at all.
Take it all back.
Hang on. We have a guest. Wolly doesn't need to hear that nonsense. Wolly, I apologize on behalf of this turkey baster over here.
I'm not a turkey baster.
Oh, golly.
What was I going to talk about?
Kisses. I float kisses to you. Okay.
I'm imagining your head in a bowling bag right now. Yes. I like that idea.
Oh, boy. All right, guys.
Hello, test. Is this better?
Back further.
But you know, there's one thing more, Jared. What would that be?
I told you I just walked in.
That's the cue you've had for, I don't know, like how many years.
Well, you don't get... I hate you, Todd.
I know.
I'm ready whenever you are.
And away we go.
Well, that's it for these knobs. Please visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/theguitarknobs. Visit our website at theguitarknobs.com for all of our past episodes, 4 on the Floor blog, and other good stuff. You can connect with us on social too at our Facebook page and share your gear and stories on our Facebook group. Also, be sure to check out our Instagram at Guitar Knobs. Catch you next time.